It is a movie that is a spectrum of feeling. It is a spectacle. It's a film that is about a brother and sister at its core, but it is also about them trying to reclaim some of their heritage and some of the legacy of their family. They're Hollywood horse trainers, and they're also after an impossible shot of a UFO. This is Nope. No, I'm just kidding. I just felt like...
Yeah, nah.
From the get-go, trying to make a movie that I would have loved when I was 14. And specifically a movie that I just wouldn't understand how it could be done. That's kind of where it started for me. And it ended up becoming about the idea of spectacle, the addiction to spectacle, the idea that a spectacle can be bad. You know, there's certain entities in this world that giving them attention is the exact wrong thing to do. Yet we'll go down that path. Humanity has this one issue, and I have it as well.
It's one of the nicest feelings to be in control of something, but there is, in a way, nothing more euphoric than being absolutely not in control of something, and that thing presents itself to be much nicer than you envisioned, you know? We had ambitions where we started to set out for this film that sort of wouldn't allow us to shoot certain scenes at night because the technology simply doesn't really exist. We started to experiment just very early. And we started building rigs, and we started testing, and we started seeing merit in it.
You could see color.
You could see color, you could see depth, you could see space, and you could see the sky, and you could see much more than you normally would see in films and big night setups.
The Run is an amazing scene because it's where we really see the excitement we feel of really risking our lives to go after something that could be really amazing. And you finally see what the plan is that they've been cooking up and how incredible it's going to be to capture the entity.
Creating horror and, suspense with a creature is to really engage the audience's imagination. It was really about not necessarily showing everything. You need to be able to design it and control it so the audience will look at it and be terrified by it, and after the audiences have seen the movie, we really want them to look at the sky differently. Anytime you see a cloud in a film, it's not real. It's for the entire film, we always made them. How do we make something absolutely realistic that, the audience will actually never notice?
It's a part of the movie we knew we were building towards a big climax, and then we knew that this climax had to defeat this sort of slow burn nature of the first half of the movie. In the scene, we see OJ making this decision to ascend to become something of a spectacle himself. The ultimate trainer, the ultimate stuntman, trying to catch the impossible.
It really is the first time that our characters are managing to bring Jean Jacket down onto the ground and give the audience a clear glimpse at it, to see really that Jean Jacket was not a solid object. It's a wind creature in a way, and it's a master at moving in its environment. And the way it moves, the way we reveal it, was extremely important.
Michael's work in the whole film, but in this final act, I felt like is so climactic and has an awareness of film genre and trope and sweepingness, but also brought a sincerity and an earnestness to my work that hasn't been brought out in my work yet.
What you hear underneath it is the warm family theme of the relationship between OJ and M and the legacy of their dad. And then at the end of it, finally, when the standoff comes between OJ and the entity, it turns very strong, and you feel his resolve, and you feel the stakes heightening and the orchestra crescendos. I hope it's a really memorable cinematic moment.
Holy shit, I think it's taking the dancers. Are you getting this?
OJ's headed up. He's doing a run. OJ's doing a run.
Oh, God. Hey, it's gone. I can't see it anymore, guys.
Why it works is because it calls on several different ideas that are part of the film naturally. It's really exciting. It's big music. There's so much going on. It's got that sense of sounding a bit like a Western, like a horse galloping. It's some of the densest music I've ever written. There's percussion and there's full orchestra and there's a beat and everything. And the last thing it has in it that Jordan always really loves is that at the end it goes da-dum, da-dum, and then there's dead silence. And the silence where you can suddenly hear the sound design and you're just left with your own emotions. It's that kind of negative space, if you will, is as important as the bigness of the music itself.
So exciting to be, putting sound on something where really you're not necessarily looking at it. The sound, we the audience are going to sit there alongside the characters and experience it and get our information from what we're hearing.
First time ever for me that you get little edits back and they have been worked on by you with extremely clear idea while we're shooting the film, which is very interesting because of course your sound design also started to feed back to us working out in the field.
We sort of discussed the use of wind and how it could become useful, and then I was like, look what I've got. And I read your amazing script and thought, hang on a minute, I can send you some ideas here. That was the beginnings of understanding how winds and the little fine tuning of pitches in winds could become an interesting screen thing. And
everybody here, we're not just making a movie, we were all kind of creating this monster together. And so that's why there's sort of the communication was important, because we knew we had a monster to create that had to be horrifying and beautiful, but we also knew that we were going to be sort of tapping what everybody sort of finds to, Michael's doing the soul, Guillaume's doing the look of it, Johnny's doing the sound, Hoyt's doing our...
I'm shooting the empty plates of the...
the empty plates. You're doing our inability to catch it, It's like, so all these pieces that are coming together and all these conversations are, as we're going, informing what Jean Jacket is becoming. The creature design was like all departments collaborating to kind of make this thing make sense. A lot of the credit to the design belongs to Guillaume and his team as well.
You start to realize that the whole surface is kind of soft, basically. It's made of like a material that is incredibly light and deforms, like sails, on a ship. We kind of pretty much broke all the rules of creature design, like there's no head, there's no arms, there's no tentacles, there's no, there's nothing that audience is used to see.
Very early on, I think Hoyt said, yeah, but it has to make physical sense, it has to work in physics. And I'm thinking that's impossible. But it was a good starting point because it became this mantra. I know it has to feel like it's in front of us, first and foremost. If it feels real, we've done something. The big unveiling of Jean Jacket. We're showing OJ and Emerald, who are across along this massive distance trying to communicate and non-verbally set up a plan to train, to wrangle this thing. It's a moment of climax for the characters, a moment unique in my films. It's sort of traditional. It's meant to make you feel something different than what I usually want to feel. So a very unique moment for me. And then of course, just in scope, I don't think I've ever tried to handle a scene or a set this big. Jean Jacket is revealing that it's a spectacle that is beautiful. The very nature of it is hard to look away from.
Get the bite! Get out of here!
The unfolding is one of the first things we designed on the movie, because we, in terms of design process, we first designed how Jean Jacket would look in its unfolded form, and then re-engineered how he would kind of form back into, you know, what looks like a flying saucer. Jean Jacket is a completely destructured creature, completely made of like billowing cloth in the wind. And when he fully expands, it's a 480 feet wide creature. It's probably one of the largest cloth simulation we've ever made. It's kind of like when you see a peacock suddenly, you know, his tail is folded and suddenly the tail completely unfurls. It's something that is mesmerizing, beautiful, unexpected, threatening at the same time.
There's a green square motif. Born out of the idea of money, the box that money puts us in. I said, is there any way to can we get this green square in there? And so he goes away for a few days, and he came back with this really, you know, perfect, sort of scary idea of how to interpret that into this sort of eye lure thing.
Also because now Jean Jacket in the final scene is really showing off, and it's like, okay, I need to put on a dance, and so I think we were looking at peacock sounds, and then so if a peacock's making that noise when it's showing off, how can I make, if I've made a scream into a wind, maybe I can make a peacock sound into a wind, and that was the kind of process of shaping wind sounds.
That big roar at the end, is that a slowed down bird sound?
That is exactly, that's a peacock hoot. I mean, if you sped it up, it wouldn't be quite as impressive. It's nothing more than a...
So much about this film specifically is about film, and it is about going back to before there were VFX and to the very first pieces of trickery. And so, you know, where these techniques all kind of like fall together does really feel like a celebration of movies, and that's kind of what was pushing us forward through this thing.
Nothing ever beats reality. You know, it's like if you can do it for real, nothing will ever look better than the real thing.
Hoyte had this great idea. He said, let's call my friend Craig, who's the best helicopter pilot in the world. He can create this practical dust. And then what Guillaume and his team were able to do is use that real dust and integrate the VFX saucer with that. Well, these are the scenes, I think, where certainly in my work, I feel like we open up the aperture, no pun intended, and find ourselves in an epic that, looking back on it, I don't understand how these people pulled it off, to be quite honest. Both of them become a hero, but different heroes than we thought they would. Embracing his greatness in a way that we didn't expect the character could. And she's making a selfless act and ultimately stopping to defend the legacy of her home and the ranch, even though it's a matter of spirit at this point and not of personal gain.
I think both these scenes are really great examples of the power of music to elevate a story to a place that it's epic. It was really important that a film that's shot in IMAX and these unbelievable effects really finally become larger than life when we see the entity in all of its size. And it was really thrilling to be able to finally go all out and really bring that for a size of movie that Nope is.
Generally, when I'm making a movie, I'm trying to celebrate. You know, I'm trying to celebrate life, I'm trying to celebrate film, I'm trying to celebrate people, I'm trying to celebrate my audience. But they always, I think, will come with a sense of responsibility of pointing out something that I don't see pointed out. Chase the impossible shot.